Hello, I'm back again with another video. This video is a continuation of a video that I uploaded a few days ago in regards to back to school shopping. Someone left a comment on that video. I believe the commenter is Tanqueray Jones. Basically, as the saying goes, great minds think alike, because I was thinking those exact thoughts. And I was intending to upload a video on some of those things that she mentioned in her comment about parents spoiling the children. I don't have any children of my own, and a lot of my observations from experiences with some of my family members and friends who have children. And from what I see, a lot of them are spoiling their children, and I think that when you spoil your children, you're actually doing them an injustice. A lot of my friends and my relatives who spoil their children say that they want to give their children some of the things that they didn't have growing up, and that's understandable. But the reason why I say that, if the parent goes overboard with spoiling their children, they do their children an injustice, is because parent is always buying the child everything that they want. They're training that child to have the mindset that they don't have to work for anything and that everything should come easily to them. It's possible that when that child becomes an adult, they may look for others to give them the things that they want, instead of going out there and getting a job and working in order to earn those things that they want on their own. Or they may look for their parents to continue to provide for them, which obviously is not a good thing. They become a burden instead of becoming a productive member of society. So I actually don't think that there is anything wrong with giving your child things that you didn't have growing up, because you want your child to enjoy life and to not suffer or to want for nothing. Also, another area where parents go wrong is that not only do they also fall under the same spell of the media and these advertisers, instead of being parents to their children, they want to be like friends to their children. And you can't be a good friend and also a good parent. It just doesn't work that way. At least, in my view. I think a lot of these parents think that by giving their children everything that they want and ask for, that's being a good parent. And I don't consider that being a good parent. Maybe they feel like they can buy love, through giving the children everything that they ask for and want. I think that a parent should do their best to provide for the child financially and make sure that the child has everything that they need. Everything else is just extra. A parent's primary job is to teach, to raise, and to protect their child. That should be their primary focus, and to also prepare the child for life. Buying everything that they want isn't also succumbing to materialistic thinking and consumerism. That doesn't necessarily do anything to help the child to become prepared for adulthood and life and survival. Let me give you all a few examples of what I mean by parents spoiling their child. I have this one relative who shall remain nameless, who almost every year that the makers of Grand Theft Auto release a new edition of their game, she purchases that game for her son. First of all, my thoughts on that is, why in the hell are you even buying a game like that depicts such graphic violence and vulgar language for your son? What is that doing to help your son to become a better person, or to educate your son, or to prepare your son for life? I understand that she purchased the game for a diversion for her son, but I don't think that that's the best. I don't think that's a great method of diversion. If it were me, I would have purchased a game that is more educational based. Really, it is, that's her business, and I try not to interfere with people's personal lives and the choices that they make. I did make a comment to her a few times about it, but if my comments pretty much fell on deaf ears, so after that I didn't say much else to her about it. But my thing is, it's a waste of money, and it's also indoctrinating her son and possibly desensitizing him to violence. Someone else who I know, she went school shopping for her daughter, and her daughter wanted a lot of name brand clothing, but the mother could not afford to buy much name brand clothing, so she went to a department store to buy most of her daughter's clothing for school, and her daughter wasn't happy with that. So when the time came for school to start, her daughter didn't want to go to school. Now check this out. This woman took money that was supposed to be used to pay her bills and went school shopping for her daughter instead, and also took a portion of the money to get her daughter's hair done. And her daughter still was not satisfied, and her daughter was ungrateful. And the end result is that this woman didn't have lights in her home, electricity in her home, for almost a month as a result of her poor choice and her lack of responsible decision making as a parent and an adult. That's what I mean by spoiling the child. She's supposed to be the head of the household, the one who is making the decisions, and the one who's supposed to be looking out for the best interest and the welfare of her child. But she chose instead to go school shopping, to take the money instead of paying her light bill to buy clothing instead. And also these parents, they lose sight of, in the case of shopping for clothes for school, a lot of these parents who waste colossal amounts of money on clothing for their children and shoes for their children, they lose sight of the reason why children are being sent to school in the first place. It's to learn. Going to school really has very little to do with fashion, and school is not a fashion show, basically. The child is being sent to school to learn. And I understand that in this day and age that children are very brutal. You have the internet, and children make fun of each other. They post photos of each other on social media in order to harass, bully, and make fun of other students. I can remember being in elementary school, and there were some snobbish children that would make fun of you if you were wearing what we call 3-stripe bobos. Basically, they are tennis shoes that come from a discount store like Kmart, and they have those 3 stripes on the side. Pretty much knockoff Adidas. So, there were some kids that would make fun of you if you wore those. And sometimes we would get into heated discussions and arguments about it, and rarely there would be a fight, a physical fist fight because of it. But now you got kids that are so brutal that they drive another child to commit suicide just because of what they're wearing, or the way their hair may look, or some other perceived physical flaw. So I don't know if the woman who I was talking about previously, whose daughter didn't want to go to school because she didn't have the right clothing, I don't know if she didn't want to go to school because she felt like she may be bullied or made fun of or teased because her mother couldn't afford to buy her name brand clothing. But that's just crazy. That's crazy how our brains have been so how we've been so brainwashed, or the children have been so brainwashed into thinking that they have to dress or look a certain way in order to go to school. That they have to have the latest fashions, designer brands, name brand, the latest and greatest fashions, designer brands, designer labels, and famous name brands. That's crazy. All of those things are just really superficial. Clothing and shoes are all ephemeral. They're temporary. They don't last. You could go to the store and spend $100 on a pair of jeans, and you probably won't get half of what you paid for it if you try to sell it on eBay 6 months later.